5 unifying themes in biology. This is going to make very little sense to you at the beginning of the semester. Um, Come back to this video a couple of times throughout the semester because it's going to make more sense as we go along. So there are 5 unifying themes that you'll see come up. Unifying meaning they'll come up over and over again, and we'll see those themes um, show up over and over again. The 5 themes are as follows. Evolution is the core theme in biology. Nothing in life and biology makes sense outside of the light of evolution. Evolution makes it all make sense. Life depends on the flow of information. We're going to talk about different kinds of flow of information because information can flow vertically, horizontally, different places, time. Information can flow in a number of different directions. Structure and function are related. You all know, if I were to put in front of you a swimmer and a long distance runner and a bodybuilder, you would be able to pick the 3 of them out of a lineup. Why is that? You automatically know that structure and function is related. That is so familiar to us that we don't even question it. And so one of the things that you need to do here in this biology class is look at things that you've always accepted as just being that way and look at them a little differently. Life depends on the transfer and transformation of energy and matter. Similarly, this is something you've been doing all of your life. You've been transforming energy and matter all of your life. You've just never seen it as the transformation of energy and matter. And similarly, interaction within and between systems. You've been doing this all of your life. You just haven't called it that yet. So let's talk about evolution just real quick. So when we look at life, one of the things we notice is that there's a huge amount of unity. Well, no, let me rephrase that first. Let's first start with diversity, right? There's a huge amount of diversity. There is, within each species, there's diversity. There are different species. There are bacteria, viruses, plants, fungi, all the things that are living. There are so many living things and they live so many different ways. But they all have some stuff in common, right? Even that virus that attacked us in 2020, it had RNA, which is, we have that too. So all of life has commonalities. And evolution is our best explanation we have to explain both the diversity and the unity. One of the things, diversity and unity, all of these things are birds, right? One of them doesn't fly. One of them is really little. They feed on very different things, yet they're somehow related, right? So Darwin said, well, the way this works is pretty simple, actually. So each time, natural selection. Each time somebody has offspring sort of looks like the parents, so there's heritable variation. Because the offspring doesn't look exactly like one of the parents, so there's heritable variation. And you have more offspring than you need, right? Because if you don't have more offspring than what you need, you're going to die out. And then you're not going to be around to talk about it. So none of this is purposeful. It's just, if you don't do this, if you are not successful, you die. The fact that you're still around meant that you had some success. So this natural selection means that unequal reproductive success leads to evolution adaptations of the population. Not purposefully, not directed, it just happens. You have a population with variable traits. You have an outside influence, a predator or whatever, that then selectively, sees, eats, kills, whatever's certain one of those, and this time the white ones, And then all of a sudden, the gray ones are more than the white ones were, right? This is how this works. Everything that is on Earth today is related in some fashion. So they're related, not one of them turns into another, just like you're not going to turn into your cousin. But if you're on Ancestry and you discover a long lost cousin in Timbuktu, then you guys are going to go back down the family tree and you're going to be like, oh, where great 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 grandpa Moses? Who do we have in common? And then you find that you had great 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 grandpa Moses in common who lived in Russia. Similarly here, you're not going to turn into a monkey. A monkey isn't going to turn into you. You and the monkey. Me and the monkey. Me and the monkey and the horse. Way, way, way back, 300,000 years ago. Big numbers. There was a common ancestor. We had somebody. We are cousins. Kind of far, far away cousins, but we are cousins. Now, in order to make this work, right, this reproductive success, so reproduction is very important, right? So some of the behaviors, some of the things we do are governed by evolution. And the more successful we are at doing these things, and sometimes weird things happen, like birds with blue feet. But those birds with blue feet, if they're trying to find the same species of animal so that they have sex with the thing that they actually can have babies with, blue feet is a good thing to look out for because not many people have blue feet. We take advantage of this change by artificial selection. We have artificially selected all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, just about every vegetable you don't like, they're all related to each other. They all have a common ancestor. So in your book, there's a picture of I think broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, all brassica. It's all come from the same grass, and we modified them from there. I can promise you the chickens of old did not look like the chickens do today. Um, Life depends on the flow of information. So that's the next one, the flow of information. What kind of flow of information do we see here? Flow of information, for starters, is we have a blueprint. Everything is made from the blueprint. So there's information that flows from the blueprint to the organism. There's an information flow that happens. Somehow you have to turn a blueprint into an organism. This happens with the help of ribosomes and RNA. So DNA is the initial blueprint. RNA is a copy, and it is transcribed into a protein, which is the protein that's kind of your body that's shorthand for your body for today. And the gene, the DNA, that's shorthand for your blueprint for the moment. There's information that happens from the gene to create an organism. Once you have the organism, there's also information that has to happen within the organism. Like there's signaling that has to happen because the organism consists of multiple cells, multiple individually alive creatures, because every cell in your body is alive, right? So those things have to live with each other. Everybody's got to eat. So everybody's got to be taken care of. So there's signaling that happens inside of the body. For example, signaling for if there's high blood glucose level, there's a signal that tells the pancreas that, yo, we got too much sugar in the blood. And the pancreas says, well, let's go use that sugar that we've got in the blood, because the reason why it's in the blood is because it contains the energy we need to live. Where it needs to go inside of the cell where the mitochondria can actually utilize it. So what the insulin does, insulin binds to the body cells, and that allows them to open the door so that the glucose can go into the cell. So the way the glucose goes down in the blood is by simply you open a door and let them into a room, right? They just leave the hallway. Blood being the hallway and the cell being the room. So they just literally leave the hallway. They're not broken down or anything like that. Structure and function are related. Again, this is one of those, you're so used to this, you just know this automatically, but this is actually something you can see in very, very small in very small parts in each organism already. The book tells you big things, but other things. So on the molecular level, for example, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin carries oxygen molecules. It carries four of them. A hemoglobin that carried two would be less efficient. Four is as much as you can get in it. Nerve cells. Nerve cells have to transport information over long distances. There's a difference between a nerve cell within the cell, the speed of transport within the cell and from cell to cell. Because it's faster within the cells are long. Because if it's faster within the cell, then the long structure of the cell will allow you to transport this faster overall. Plants and little bugs. Plants, one of the things we're going to talk about is that plants have a cell wall. That's important for their structure so that they can function the way they do. This panda has a little false thumb, and that could be a hindrance, but it actually is an advantage. He uses this. So the ones with the false thumb, they had an advantage over the ones without. So it's around. It's stuck around for that reason. Flying, you are able to hunt in niches that others are not able to hunt. So this is why being able to fly is very helpful. Life depends on the transformation of transfer and transformation of energy and matter. This is what eating is. You don't think about this, but this is what eating is. So energy, all energy comes in and enters at sunlight. That's where all the energy on Earth comes from the sun. Plants capture it and put it into chemicals. We eat the chemicals and extract the energy from that. And then we pass it along, right? Whoever eats it first, like we eat the potato, right? The plant puts it in the potato, we eat the potato. We then eat, sleep, poop, do all the things we do, and then something breaks down whatever. It breaks down us, breaks down our waste products, that kind of thing. And so this picture is worth 1,000 words. So inflow of energy. Energy is a flow through. The energy flows through. It's not preserved. Comes in for the sun. The plants capture it. They stick it inside of glucose, and now the energy is captured in glucose, trying to get out. We eat the food, the glucose, the sugars, those kinds of things. We extract the energy from that. That turns us into, that turns a deer into an animal. We eat the deer, that kind of thing. And whatever isn't utilized well, there's always some loss of energy that happens, and that's heat. That's what our body heat is that loss of energy. The glucose itself is made out of molecules. Those molecules are cycled. They're cycled. They don't get lost. So the plants take CO2 and water from the air. They take gas and liquid and turn it into something solid, glucose. Then we take the glucose, we break it into its component parts, extract the energy from it, and then breathe out CO2. And we also release the water again, right? And so this is that whole cycle. And then, of course, as was suggested right here, life depends on the interaction within and between systems. You are a system yourself, right? There are things happening inside of you that make it a system. They have to interact with each other. But you also, as this suggests, there is a whole system at play here, right? We cannot capture the energy from the sun. Plants need that. So we need plants to survive. Plants need us. There's a whole connection. And sometimes, and just because we don't know something is involved, doesn't mean it's not, right? So the best way to deal with nature and science is to follow where the data leads you. Because just because you don't like the answer doesn't mean it's not true. And nature will just do whatever nature does anyway, because nature doesn't care about you as an individual. Um, Nature just cares about life as a general to be around, and it'll be around long after we're not anymore.